Hi, this is Joe Taylor from the Community Activist Network, and now we're continuing with the second part of our discussion with Maxine Moore.
Hi, Joe.
And Maxine, with all these cuts to public service occurring, I think you were directly affected, is that right?
That is true. I currently don't work due directly to the cuts.
You were working at the time for the Home Office, I think,
Yeah.
So one of the things we've seen, Maxine, recently is there is a lot of public resistance to what we call the cuts. These cuts in public service and everything else that's attached to them. Do you think the cuts were inevitable anyway?
My opinion is that the cuts would have come in some capacity anyway. How deep they were initially, I think, would have depended on the party. But I think we were hitting a time where spending was going to get tight, and a lot of particularly public sector jobs that were seen as non-jobs were going to get cut first.
Okay. Because it's my impression that the decision wasn't made by this particular government. In fact, it's my impression that a single government simply can't make decisions on that nature. We're dealing with a world economy now, that these decisions are made much above national level, and they were made possibly at the G20 summit in July last year. But given that these cuts are now occurring and we've seen a great deal of protest, and in your opinion, do you think these protests will actually achieve anything or nothing?
I think I remember growing up in the early 80s when we hit a time of lots of protests, and I remember a nation that had a lot more solidarity around its views and its thoughts, and some of them got nasty and some of them were peaceful. I think over the last 15 years, we've lost that. I think people become comfortable. That's always the sign of a strong economy. But also, I think that people in either poorer communities or cut-off communities lost touch with any of the idea of actually debating, getting involved, even voting in a lot of cases. And I think the one thing that will come out of this is that people will actually start to make a stand again. And with things that are going on will bring together people to actually find common goals and common aims. So for everything that happens that's negative, something positive normally comes out of it. And I personally would like to see people actually starting to know how to make change, how to get involved and how to come together collectively.
And do you think that over time we can perhaps make some difference?
I think so. I mean, I would like to see the network know exactly where it's going, and maybe, initially ask its new members, what do you want from this? What do you need from it? But I do believe that it'll be a point that people can go to. I think that social media across the internet is a new way of reaching people, from people getting involved on Facebook and Twittering and blogging and watching videos online, and I think that if people have an interest, it'll be the opportunity to start putting this stuff on and learn from each other. So yeah, I think this is a great starting point.